this. So very exciting to see the brain.
Pretty similar to what you said. I'd say I am the person who is in charge of getting as many people using the beautiful NextWork platform as possible. So for me, my day-to-days at the moment, we're prepping for
Um,
it's a great. I think a chocolate bar. The kid I've loved.
That's awesome. I think that is
I mean, when I started this role, all of my content ideas just came from chats that I had with students. Amber, shout out to Amber. She was big. And for me, that's something that I visually make sense, or in a way that is less than 2 minutes. And that informed basically our whole content strategy. And still to this day, all the content that I create should come from a student. Feed my family back in Nigeria. And I just remember like bawling my eyes out. I was like, wow, this is like what we're trying to do. At that age, I was earning a lot of money and I was getting a lot of experience. But eventually, I'd been doing this for about 2 years and maybe a year after uni. And it kind of got to the point where I would go into work, and if I'm going to be completely real, I'd just go into a room and I would cry. And I would do the job that I need to do, and I was still working long hours at this point, but something just felt so off and I couldn't explain what it was. And one day I went into my performance review, and I remember my boss, he was eating, and he was talking about the next few years, and I just said like, look, I'm going to resign. And he spit out his food and he dropped his fork. And he was like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? So then he called in the COO. COO had a chat with me. And eventually I had another chat with this guy in the VC world, or venture capital world. And he told me, he listened to my story and he said, Maximus, you need to go find your cave. Go find something that terrifies you, but you know it's the right thing to do and the right place to enter. And honestly, this has been massive in my life, because after that, I resigned that day. I then went across Southeast Asia and traveled, because that's what he said to do. Go find your cave in somewhere that you haven't explored before. And I went through all these countries. And I think the person, or at that time I was 22, the 22-year-old in me who had been in this world surrounded by billionaires and a lot of money. You go through places like Thailand, Vietnam, India, and some of these people, they have next to nothing. They're living in tin shed houses. And at first I'm like, oh, I want to make a lot of money and go help these people. And then you actually go speak to these people and you realize that they're so content with life. Like they have something that a lot of people around the world do not have. And what kept breaking my heart though was as I go through these countries, I'm in a position to go find my cave. Like I'm going through on a scooter, I'm going through all these different countries traveling. But a lot of these kids, they can't dream about becoming a doctor or a lawyer or a cloud engineer because they don't even know what it is. A lot of these kids, they will never leave their village and they never have. And that kept getting to me. It was really like breaking my heart and I had no clue what to do. And I had met Amber, who's the founder of NextWork, a year and a half earlier. And at the time, I had no clue what she was doing. But I remember I was in India staying with a yogi in a meditation retreat. And Amber gave me a call. There's literally monkeys in the background at this yoga retreat. And Amber's like telling me what NextWork is about. And I was like, no way. This is exactly what I realized I wanted to help. I wanted to create a world where anyone could learn anything, no matter who you are, and it'd be personalized to you. I was like, this is perfect. And then Amber said, Maximus, look, I think you'd be good for the role, but I want you to come back to New Zealand now. And I was still like 6-7 weeks away from finishing my travels. So I turned it down and just trusted in God that it was the right thing to do. And 2 days after I got back, after this 6-7 more weeks of travel, Amber called me out of the blue and was like, hey, I know that we talked a while ago. I still haven't actually hired for this role. And I want you to interview. And 2 weeks later, I moved my entire life to Wellington and I was starting at NextWork.
Maximus, I've heard this story multiple times now, and every time I get goosebumps. I think it's so cool. Like, there's a couple of pieces that I take away from it. One is like the go find your cave. And I think there are so many learners in our community who are trying to find that cave. And I'd love to know what is it, how do you find that cave? Is there any indication that, oh, okay, this is my cave. This is not somebody else's cave. This is my cave. And also, I love the fact that you were so sure, and you had to do that adventure, that journey of finding your cave, and even though you got a call, you were like, if it's meant for me, it'll still be there. It almost kind of reminds me of The Alchemist, and
Exactly.
yeah, the pure matter. If it's meant for you, it will be there. It's not going anywhere.
That's the book I read in India.
Oh, really?
That's genuinely one of the biggest lessons I learned while traveling was do not fear the unknown, for God is kind to those who does not fear the unknown. And that one is something I try and live by, especially working at a startup. Basically every day is an unknown. I could come into work and Maya will know this better than anyone probably, where one day we could say like, hey, the community is going to be on this platform, and the next day it could completely move to something else. Or the project team could say they're going to write about this particular topic, and the next day we could completely pivot to something else. And there's a lot of unknown, and it can be very scary, but I'm a big believer that fear and anxiety does not add a single moment to your life. So you can just let it go and trust that it's going to work out. And when it comes to finding your cave, I think to find something that, like your cave, that you're fearful of entering, you need to go to places where you haven't necessarily gone before. And for me, that was a physical change. So that was going to a different country, going to a different part of the world. But for other people, it could be something like an environmental change, a mindset change. It could be a physical change, just something tangibly different. Because, I mean, it's like that saying, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and again and expecting a different result. And I think that's exactly what it is for finding a cave. You got to do things that are outside of the ordinary for you.
Maximus, you are like dropping all these nuggets of wisdom, and I am trying to type them through. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result.
Expecting a different result, yeah.
Oh, expecting a different result. Oh my gosh. I love
I
this.
think Einstein said that.
Is that right? And he said insanity?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, these are all the principles that I've learned from just other people who are way smarter than me. So they're things that I try and carry with me. I think that's been my whole, shout out Sohaib. This is something that I'm trying to get to grips towards. Yeah, it's a tough one, but I think it's something that you constantly have to keep making that decision to not let the fear and anxiety take over. Because things can very easily spiral. But I think for me, particularly, my faith is something that keeps me there. But for other people, it may look different. Yeah, it is something that I had to work towards and took a while.
I have a question, Maximus. I mean, you've been at NextWork for quite a while now, and you talk about change and making sure that you are not afraid of the unknown. I suppose you had that attitude even before joining NextWork, but is that something that you built, or was that something you already have? And I know so many learners who are trying to pivot and transition, and especially with AI and so many new tools and technologies coming up in the industry, there's always going to be an unknown. Am I going to lose my job? What's the next role for me? What's the next step for me? Um, any thoughts on how to embrace that unknown, to not worry about what the future has for you?
Me, I always try and model my behavior on people or mentors or figures that I believe are walking in the path that I want to walk in. And I'm fortunate that I have that in this team. Every single person in this team has different characteristics that I want to become more like them, which I think is very, very beautiful. If you're working with people who you look up to them, that's a great place to be, because every day you come to work, you want to become better and better. But I think that something we often misunderstand or forget is that mentors, and this is something that Amber taught me, mentors can be people from books, they can be people from podcasts, they can be people from the past who are dead. And there's lots of facts or figures or quotes about them. Like Amber, one of her mentors is someone who was the mentor of Tony Robbins. I don't know if people know who Tony Robbins is, but he's a motivational speaker. And her mentor is Jim Rohn. And I always found that super interesting. Like, Jim Rohn is not alive, he's not with us today, but Amber looked to his writings and his speaking and podcasts and considers him a mentor. And I find the exact same thing. If there's something I want to learn, I'll go to the absolute best person that I know in that field and try and learn it from them. And I think that's the exact same when something new comes out, or when there's some new skill that I want to learn, or something completely at left field. It's like, who is the best person, or where is the best place that I can go to learn this as fast as possible, and just stay curious. I think that's, above all, the number one skill set that someone can have, in my opinion, in today's day and age, is the ability to learn fast. And to learn fast, I think you need to question what you're learning multiple times, question yourself and test yourself. And that's how I go about learning a lot of different things on a day-to-day basis. Is I question, is this the best way to learn this? Is this applicable? How is this more applicable? And I just keep asking myself questions, and that helps me basically learn that information in a way that I can teach other people.
That is amazing. I think, oof, there was so much in there that I would love to dig deeper. One piece that I took away from that was the mentors, finding your mentors, finding the best at what they do and where you want to aspire to, and leaning onto them, whether it is their writings, their videos, even things like sometimes even reaching out to them. Right? I know you are always reaching out to people, um, and maybe cold emails.
That for about a week, and I was like, oh, enough of that, and you need to go talk to someone who knows. So who I thought was New Zealand's best content creator at the time. Her name's Joni Lee, and to this day I still think she is. And I hit her up on LinkedIn, and I sent her a message on LinkedIn, and I don't know if she responded right away, but I found other ways. So I went to her company website, and I noticed they had a referral scheme. And with this referral scheme, at the end, when you refer 5 people, you get a 30-minute chat with someone in the team. And I referred 5 people. I just referred everyone in the team, and this call went really well. I was just talking through what NextWork is doing, what's going on, and at the call, I just out of the blue was like, okay, well, I'm not going to waste this opportunity. This is very rare. This girl has grown, I think, 400,000 followers in a year. There's not many people that have done that before. So I just said, hey, Joni, I don't know if you'd be open to this completely out of the blue, but I would love if we could get on these calls weekly. I don't know, like 250 followers to 30,000 followers. And it got to the point over time where I understood what she was saying over and over again. She drilled down the simple things again and again and again. And now when we meet up, it's more just like 2 friends hanging out, and I still get little bits of nuggets from her. But if I didn't ask for her to be my mentor, if I didn't go around the board like a little bit, went out of my way to go and get on a call with her, who knows where we'd be at today. And I think that's something that maybe a lot of people feel the sense of, who am I to ask this person? Like, this person is, they're up there. But if there's anything I learned from, building that brand, that $40 million brand, sitting in rooms with people who are way more experienced than me, way richer than me, they have a lot more than I do. I realized that at the end of the day, all these people are human. Literally, the person that I'm sitting across the table with is a mother or a father or a son or a daughter. And I was like, okay, well, I might as well ask then. What do I have to lose? And so far, that seems to work. If you do it in a genuine way, people are more likely to give you advice or help than you think they are.
Really like that. I think it's really important to ask for help. And I think it comes with a lot of security in who you are, a lot of confidence that asking someone for help, for mentorship, for guidance isn't an indication that you are weak or you do not know anything, or you are less than someone. It just means that, hey, I know my limitations. I want to get to where you are at, and I'm going to ask and find out so that I can get there too. And at some point, as you always do, Maximus, you turn around and help someone else when they come to you and be like, hey Maximus, how did you grow from 189 to 185,000? You know, this is intense. I want to learn from you. So there will be a day when we are able to contribute as well. So it's very important to have that kind of confidence that asking for help does not make me less. I think sometimes we worry about what others will think, or we think that we have to do it on our own. And it also speaks to why we have such a wonderful community, that these are learners who are willing to give help, to gain from each other and learn together. And I think NextWork is a, especially our community, is a great example of being ruthless in asking for help, for looking for others who are experts in cybersecurity and cloud computing, and saying, "Hey, can you help me with this?" So yeah, great share, Maximus. Thank you. Um, I also think, and I go to Maximus all the time for help, all the time, and he is, I would say, like the king of processes, of systems. He's very clear about managing things, and he does so much. He's a multitasker. He not a multitasker at once, but he juggles a lot of things. He's got a lot of projects, and I think I really look up to Maximus on how he has this second brain. Would you like to talk a little bit about your second brain, Maximus?
Yeah. Where the team who are experts in their field, or really good at different areas comes in. So adopting systems and practices to make things better. Same with Amber. I'd say very, very good organizers, and they keep. I went and talked to them, and I started looking at different YouTube videos or systems, and I came across this concept called a second brain by Tiago Forte. And Tiago Forte, basically, this whole concept of a second brain is how can you get out all the things that are in your head and all these different projects and things going on, and put them in a system that can basically self-organize and do all the work for you. And I'm someone who I don't like to spend a lot of time planning, or I don't like to spend a lot of time doing a massive debrief on stuff. I want to just go out and execute. So this system helped me do that, and is something that every week I'm refining. But I use it for tracking all my tasks. So every day or every night, I have all the tasks that I'm going to do the next day, and sometimes they change or things pop up, but I like to plan that out. I have my journal in there, so I journal daily. Basically, what have I done today? What have I learnt? What are some wins? I have my goals or projects that I'm working on. So where do all these things ladder up to? And then again, these all of these projects and goals, they have. If you want something done, give it to a busy person. Yeah. So I then have like my resources or notes, and they all ladder up to things. So again, I just like to keep it as simple as possible, but it's a system that has definitely helped me get a lot more done. And like Roy says, add it to a system, knock it out, and somehow still have time for coffee. Yeah, I don't drink coffee, but maybe like a chai would be nice.
Roy, I think you said it really well too. With Maximus, I feel like there's always some ball being thrown onto him, and he's like, okay, all right, how do I juggle this? And he just does it. He does it really really well, um, and yeah. He's got his second brain. He talked about John and leaning on him, but Maximus does so much, and I think he's always up to date on AI tools as well, and he leverages. He's always out and on the lookout for tools and technologies that can help him streamline his process. And I'd love to know, Maximus, amongst all the balls that you're juggling, how do you add like playing, and finding, there's new releases. I know how, your videos, on diagramming using Nano Banana, using Napkin, Draw.io. You've released all these content on how these tools can help, with architecture diagrams and diagrams in general. But it requires you playing around with these tools to come up with these ideas, and that is just one piece of all the things you've explored. Some of those things are, tools that you use in your process that, is that goes unseen by everyone else, like Claude skills, for example. How do you take time to play around with it? Do you add that as a project in your second brain, or is that your hobby? Does that give you energy? How does one keep up with these things?
Yeah, it can feel overwhelming to try and always stay up to date. But my approach to these things is when I have a problem or I've identified a bottleneck, I then allow myself the time to try and spend time to come up with a solution to that problem or bottleneck. And hence why a lot of these videos that I've done on, let's say, architecture diagrams or creating a GitHub profile or to document your projects are all things that I wanted to solve. I was like, oh, I want to do this faster. I want to do this more efficiently. And I know that if I can do this really well, find the best ways to do this, then I can also teach other people how to do it. And I think when you're learning with the intention to teach something or to explain it to other people, it's very different to just learning for a test or learning for an essay. Learning with the intention to then explain it to someone else is very different, and I think one of the best ways to learn. So I like to firstly identify the problem and then give myself the time to come up with solutions to that. And usually that means trying out new tools. But I think very much something that I've adopted since joining NextWork is coming up with the V1 solution as fast as possible. And what that means is, how can I get a improvement in the shortest amount of time, whether that's like a 10% improvement or a 20% improvement, or sometimes it's 100% improvement in less than a couple hours or less than like 30 minutes. Because that really helps me get the ball rolling. Often it's very tempting to watch a bunch of YouTube videos or do this massive course on something, and you then get stuck in this tutorial loop or whatever they call it, like tutorial hell. You just keep going around and around and around. You're like, oh, there must be better ways to do this. And it's been a day, 2 days, a week, a month, a year, and you haven't actually executed anything. But our whole job is based on executing as fast as possible. So that became my number one output, was how can I get some improvement as fast as possible? And that's completely changed everything for me. Like it helps me iterate and get better so much faster. I find that no matter how long you take, if you would take a month to learn something, actually there's a study done on this at a Harvard. It was like a Harvard pottery course, and half the class, their final exam was to make one pot. So what they did is half the class made a pot, just one, and they tried to perfect that across the entire semester. Now the other half of the class, their output was make one pot a day. The people who did this, made one pot a day, produced a far superior pot at the end of the semester compared to the people who just made one pot. And I think I take the same approach. How can I just get something done every single day? And how can I make it a little bit better? And I know by the end of this month or the end of this semester or time period, it's going to be way better.
That's so cool. We always talk about this. We always talk about this in like connect with the community, with learners. Like, is it important to ship faster or is it important to ship quality? And you were saying it just do something every day, and I see that, and that's the brand you have as well. You always have something to show every day, and it just gets.
Yeah, it's something Amber has been transformational for me. Like she embodies this. One that I really look up to this so fast and then iterates.
Maximus
My guy.
towards perfection. Yeah.
For sure.
What's the thought process behind it?
Succeed, or the people who get very far, are the ones who are okay with embracing failure or embracing the feeling of discomfort. I think in the world we live in, it's very much the trend or something to not seek discomfort, to seek comfort. But I think if we operate in an area of discomfort, you grow so much faster. And when it comes to the first TikTok video, I was just like, I remember the first day, I took a whole day to make a video. And at the end of the day, Nat's in the call right now. Nat and Amber were like, all right. It took quite a while. And after I saw their faces, I was like, damn, all right, the next one's got to be way faster. And then it just kept getting faster and faster and faster. And at the start, when you're doing something, I think it's a massive lie to tell yourself that you're going to do it perfect, because odds are you don't even know what good is yet. And to think, because I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos or I've done a course or I've done a degree on it, I mean, that sounds more delusional to me. So putting in the reps, I think, is a much better to get faster. Rather than output metrics. So all of my goals are about how many pieces of content can I produce, how many emails can I send out, how many landing pages. All of these things are all input metrics because they're things that I can control. At the end of the day, I can't control how many people watch a TikTok. I can't control how many people start a project, but I can put more of those chances out into the world so that people do. So for me, I like to focus on the things that I can control and trust that I've built systems and processes that will naturally lead to successful output metrics. But that's how I go about my day to day. And when I'm operating in my best is when I'm having the most amount of fun. Like I'd say maybe in the team, I make a few jokes here and there. Uh, but I like to have fun and I like to focus on the things that I can control. And that's when I'm operating best. I don't know why Nat's putting a. Thank you. Oh my goodness. All right. There's no need for this. Love it. I don't know about that, but I'll take the compliment. Uh, and honestly, it's funny when I get compared to people like Kukesh. I think it's more for the looks than the actual smarts because Kukesh, I think, is packing a lot more knowledge up there. But it's good fun always. I love seeing those comments. They crack me up. Oh, honestly, it's any comment where they say this is so well explained, or wow, I couldn't have learned this any better. Normally, I see those on Nat's videos, so when it's on my videos, I'm very happy. But yeah, for us, it's really about the learning, right? So we could have a marketing philosophy of just making like entertaining videos, and yes, humor is a big part of my life, so those naturally come into the videos for sure. But the philosophy with NextWork is like we want to solve the world's toughest problems, and that also starts from our market. We actually provide value. Feels good.
I um, your educational, not just helpful, how the concepts are described, but also very entertaining, very funny, and it evolved. I remember there was a time when you used to use food and beakers and colored liquids and Legos, and now you've got like coats for the manager and intern roles, and now you've got images and icons and diagrams on your videos to talk about system design. How has it evolved, and how do you keep learning?
I'm I can be good at. Like I wasn't as experienced when it came to cloud or tech, but I was like, okay, maybe entertainment could have been what I was interested in. And I saw other creators or other people using props in different niches, not in the tech world. And I was like, wow, well, maybe I can use some props. So I started using M&Ms. And yeah, Nat is right. I used M&Ms for over 400 videos. And it was kind of gross, but it was $4. So we'll go with that. I didn't have a microphone. I didn't have a good camera. So I think in terms of the barriers, if you have a phone and you have internet, then you can get into content creation. You don't need anything else. And I think that's something a lot of people are waiting for is like, oh, I need this good camera. I need this microphone. I didn't even have a microphone for the first 7 months. If you go back to the first videos, they sound horrible, but they were also getting views. They were also like getting people onto our platform, which is the main goal. So the content evolves as the spaces change or as things that I'm learning change. So I recognized one of my favorite creators. He's actually one of my mates. He does 2 skits. He plays 2 different characters. And I thought that was quite interesting. And I also saw system design videos was something I was particularly interested in as well. And I saw that they were doing quite well. So I thought, oh, why not combine the 2? And I wanted to have an intern because I wanted to ask, do you have a hairdresser on standby? My goodness, I'm going to screenshot that one. That's the best comment I've ever seen. Wait a minute. Let me just pause for a second. Anyway, taking a second there, I thought, okay, why don't I combine these 2 together? And I wanted to play an intern because I wanted to ask all the questions that I had asked in the past or questions that I was even asking now about certain topics. And I wanted to play a manager. And I thought a manager that is relatable is like the angry manager, the manager who's like telling you off and they expect you to know everything when you're actually just an intern. You're actually just trying to learn. So I thought, oh, why not combine these 2? It'll help me. It'll help me learn faster. And by chance, I guess, by trial and error, it worked out really well and is a format that a lot of people seem to really, really enjoy. But who knows, in the future, I might bring back the M&Ms, might bring back the beakers. Definitely want to. They're a lot of fun to make those videos. And as long as it's helping people learn, then my job.
I love that. Yeah, there's a lot of comments on how amazing you look, your hair. In when intern Maximus wins, and with good architecture advice. And it's also really cool to see. Like I've asked people, who do you root for? Is it the intern or the manager? And they're like, oh, it just depends. Um, and it's so cool how they identify with 2 different characters that you play. It's really cool what you do, Maximus. Awesome. I just want to point out to the audience that if you have any questions for Maximus, this is the time. I am going into a quick, rapid round. So Maximus, I hope you're ready for any kind of question. First question I have for you: what is your go-to comfort food? Dessert. So
You'd be looking at a very different, I'll tell you that for sure.
I think we need you
Mm,
to have that good looks because people are joining in for your amazing hair, and so yeah, it's good that you work out, and and those arms. Anyways, um,
stop it, man. I paid her. I'll pay you the $20 after this. Thank you.
what is one tech company whose system design you really enjoy that you like talking about?
I'd say Netflix because they've gone through many variations. I particularly like looking at the evolution of a company system design. Those are the videos that I find the most interesting because I'm like, oh wow, like this is how they did search in the past, and then as new technology came out, this is how they've adapted it or changed it. So Netflix, there's a lot of examples and use cases on them, so it's easier to research. So I think they'd probably be the top.
Nice. A favorite sport, and this is to tag along Sohib's question.
Yes, I represented New Zealand at age. That was my dream for quite a while until I realized it actually wasn't. Now, probably my favorite sport is mixed martial arts. I do Muay Thai, and I really like the technical development needed to get good at Muay Thai.
Nice. What is one underrated habit that's helped you and your career? Ooh, teach us a move. Would you be down to teach us a move?
Of Muay Thai?
Maybe that's a project or another video content. Oh.
I see the chat is going off. Yeah, I might get an HR violation for that one. That's my bad. Maximus, I can be a stunt. Oh yeah, if Kahu can come in here. Nat, where you at?
Oh
I'd
yeah, like,
say
like poor Nat is probably a punching bag for Maximus, no?
that's, please do not. That's a joke. That is a joke. Guys, that's a joke. Nat is someone who actually hits me during work.
All right, all right, all right. All right. One AI tool you'd be sad to lose tomorrow. Oh, okay. Mm. Yeah, that is so true.
Not even really technically an AI tool. I guess it does use a transcode. Uh, I'd say I was probably become Claude. It's just epic. The amount that you can do with that is incredible.
If you have one metric to track for the next year, um, for yourself, for your growth, for your goals, what would it be?
That's track. Yeah, I mean, for me, it really is the one that I talked about earlier when I was going through Thailand and Vietnam and Laos. I just want to live in a world where it doesn't matter where you're born or how much money you have or, where you're from. You should be able to learn anything in a way that is completely personalized for you. And I believe that's what we're doing at NextWork and is why like there's like the sleep metric joke in the chat. It's like why we put in so many hours and why everyone in this team cares so much is for me it's I want every single one of those kids to be able to live in a world where they could dream about anything because I don't think it's fair that I can do that and they can't. So until that happens, I don't care like how many hours or sleepless nights or whatever. It just it has to get done, and there's just no way it doesn't. I feel the same, and you can't achieve a goal like that. You can't solve a problem like that by yourself. There's a reason that I love being in this team is because every single person in this team is an absolute weapon and such good people. So it makes showing up to work and it makes showing up to battle every day when things get hard so much easier. Because I know that there's people like Maya, there's people like Pano, Nat, Kahu, Amber, John, Krishna. Like, there's so many people in this team that are just amazing. And that's, you can't ask for anything more. Do not fear the unknown. And that's a wrap, guys. Yeah, do not fear the unknown, Nat. 5. Yeah. Oh my goodness. But by the way, I just want to say before we wrap up, Maya is so good at interviewing. She makes it feel so natural. And that is a skill that not many people have. So I really appreciate you, Maya. You are exceptional at what you do. Man, 24/7 camera that doesn't sound good, Maya. I'm not going to have a job for much longer, I think.
You know where to find him. Thank you all for your time. Wherever you are, have a great rest of the day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Hope you all have a great time today, and stay tuned for the 21 in 21 projects coming up on Friday and our next units of NextWork.
Until
Until
Let's
next time,
go.
see you
Adios.
later. Bye.